The reality of missionary finances. Living by faith. When most people think of missionaries, they envision individuals traveling to distant lands, spreading the gospel, and serving in remote villages. What often goes unnoticed, however, is the behind-the-scenes reality that makes such work possible. For many missionaries, the financial side of the journey is one of the most difficult challenges. Living by faith is not just a phrase, it is a daily reality that requires trust in God's provision and the support of others. This chapter will explore missionaries' financial struggles, the challenge of raising support, and the moments of profound faith that sustain them. The names in this story are fictional, but the experiences are real, drawing from the shared journey of countless missionaries worldwide. The call and the cost. A leap into the unknown. When Emma first felt called to missions, she was filled with excitement. The idea of leaving her hometown, traveling to another country, and sharing the message of Christ with those who had never heard it felt like an adventure. But as the initial excitement began to settle, the practicalities of her decision started to weigh heavily on her heart. How am I going to afford this? She wondered one evening, sitting alone in her small apartment. Staring at a stack of missionary support materials spread across her dining table, she knew that the mission organization she was partnering with required her to raise her financial support. That meant she would need to contact friends, family, and churches to ask them to contribute monthly to her mission work. Emma had never been comfortable asking for money. Her parents had always emphasized the importance of self-sufficiency, and the thought of relying on others to provide for her felt foreign and uncomfortable. But deep down, she knew that if she were going to fulfill the calling God had placed on her heart, she would have to step out in faith and trust that He would provide. Her first step was writing a support letter. She spent hours crafting the words, explaining God's vision for the work she would be doing in the Philippines. She outlined her need for financial and prayer support, hoping her passion for the mission would resonate with those reading it. After weeks of drafting and redrafting, she finally sent out the letters, and then she waited. Days passed with no response. Emma started to question whether she had misheard God's call. Was this real what He wanted her to do? Why wasn't anyone responding? Why was raising support so much more complex than she had imagined? The first gift. A reminder of God's faithfulness. It was a rainy afternoon when Emma received her first support check. She had been feeling particularly discouraged that day, wondering if she could ever raise the funds she needed to leave for the mission field. As she sifted through her mail, she found a tiny envelope with familiar handwriting. The letter was from Mrs. Thompson, an older woman from Emma's church who had mentored her spiritually during her teenage years. Emma opened the envelope to find a note inside, written in Mrs. Thompson's shaky handwriting. Dear Emma, I believe in what God calls you to do. I do not have much, but I want to support you in any way I can. Please accept this small gift as a sign of my prayers and encouragement. God will provide, just as He always has. Love, Mrs. Thompson. Enclosed was a check for $50, an amount that, while small, felt like a miracle to Emma. She could not hold back the tears as she sat down to pray. The amount was insufficient to cover even a week of living expenses on the mission field, but it was a powerful reminder that God was with her on this journey.